minimum wage is going up to $7.85. Why has that figure been chosen? Why do you think it's necessary to increase the minimum wage now?
Well, that figure is actually the recommendation by the Minimum Wage Committee, and we as a department, along with Treasury and now Council of Ministers, have actually agreed and to support that increase, and that's what's going to Tynwald next week.
Now, it's still not at what is pitched as or estimated to be the living wage in the Isle of Man. You haven't gone that far yet. Is that still something that's in train?
Yes, absolutely it is, and there's obviously a commitment in the programme for government, and what we will be saying when I take this to the floor is that there is still an aspiration to reach the national living wage, and whilst this increase goes some way towards it, what we want to do is to continually make that move in that direction. But I think what we do have to do is we have to balance that with the economic realities, and that's why we have listened here to the Minimum Wage Committee in accepting that initial recommendation at $7.85.
Now, the last time increases to minimum wages and the idea of introducing a living wage was debated, there were concerns about the impact it could have on employers and the timescale. Now, this doesn't come until October. Have you talked to employers in the Isle of Man? Is this going to hit people particularly hard?
Yes, well, we have had reaction already, of course, since it's gone live, but do bear in mind that the Minimum Wage Committee do actually pool evidence, and this is employers and unions that are represented on that committee, and we have people who actually respond to us directly already. And what we are aware of is that there is already wage inflation that's already occurring, which is one of the reasons we've looked to, shall we say, simplify it with the removal of the age bands, which will make it, I think, a little bit easier and also hopefully more attractive for our young people being in employment to stay here or come back here. So what we have done here is we've been listening to employers as well, and with the wage inflation, and we've also seen some voluntary movements towards the living wage already. So we have to be very conscious of that.
Now, you mentioned the age bands within the minimum wage. In 2014, there was an 18 to 20 band brought in, which was slightly less than everybody 21 and over. That was when you had just joined the department as minister. But the 2017 introduction of another band for 21 to 24s, that's a fairly recent thing. This is essentially a U-turn on both of those bands. Why are you doing that? Why? I mean, because that does have the potential to hit people in hospitality and retail who traditionally can employ a lot of younger staff.
Yes, no, fully accept that. And what I did say on the floor of Tynwald last year is that we would actually review those bans, and that's why we wanted to take a look at that. And as I say, the recommendation now is to actually remove them and to simplify it. So whilst I think it was rather complicated, and a lot of the information we were getting from a number of employers, it was being more, as I say, complicated for them to actually process that in that particular area. So we think this will simplify it and also be attractive, as I say, for our young people too.
Why not just bring an order that revokes those age bands, that actually creates one minimum wage for everybody over 18, go back to what the old system was, rather than keeping the bands but continually changing the minimum wage that can be paid to, or the minimum wage that's paid to people in those age bands?
That's another way of achieving the same thing really. What we've done, our recommendation here is really to simplify it in essence, and that's what we've tried to do here is to come up with a system where we think that will be acceptable. There will be issues in certain areas, certain sectors, but that is always the case no matter whatever change that we do bring forward or recommend to bring forward.
Were the age bands a mistake? I mean, there was criticism at the time of younger workers being penalised for being young.
No, I don't think so. I mean, clearly, you've got a situation where these were recommended over a number of years, and what we have done now, of course, is we also brought in the Equality Act, which is, whilst this is not necessarily connected to the minimum wage, but I think there's a sentiment there and an issue there, and clearly, as a government, we're in an island, we're trying to retain people, our young people here, and we want to make it attractive for them to be in work, and we think that this recommendation will hopefully go some way to doing that.